residents came together for a prayer vigil in Sioux Falls in support of Israel. Parker Brown has that story for us tonight.
Just 8 days ago, the world stood in shock as Hamas launched a deadly attack on Israeli citizens. Today, the people of South Dakota stood unified in support of Israel.
City, state, and federal elected officials, including Governor Noem and Senator Thune, came to support the Jewish community and pray together.
We're all in this together, and I think that is the message coming out of this. We are going to stand with our ally Israel and confront evil, and that's what it is. I mean, the kind of hatred that led to the violence and the attack that's the most vicious attack on the people of Israel and the Jewish communities literally since the Holocaust, it has to be confronted.
Speakers highlighted the actions of Hamas and the prevalence of anti-Semitism. As protests break out in other parts of the nation, Jacob Forstein, president of the Mount Zion congregation in Sioux Falls, is calling for people to stand united with Israel.
When we stand as one, it shows the evil in the world that they will never win and never defeat us. As one, we will always defeat them and overcome them, no matter what.
As the fighting rages on in Israel, the Jewish community of South Dakota is praying and hoping for a peaceful end and a Jewish victory. In Sioux Falls, Parker Brown, Dakota News Now.